Hey Exiles, this is Volarix here with a video on creating an arena in Conan Exiles. To get things started, there's a few things that we need to have. First one being the Pippi Mod. The Pippi Mod can be found on the Steam Workshop. If you go here, just look up Pippi and be sure to subscribe to that and add it to your mod server. This will be required for things such as the Egress and Thespians. Alright, so let's jump right into things. First thing we're going to have to do is create an arena. This is probably the most time-consuming piece of the whole thing. You are just going to need to create a suitable arena to perform the fights that you will be setting up. Now this one, to be honest, is a little bit small, but I didn't want to create something massive for this tutorial. In general, you want to have between 6 to 10 blocks of space for an arena. This will give you enough space to spawn in different enemies and to allow them to move around and to actually have a decent fighting space. I like to put in some observatory areas just for the simple fact that other people in your server might enjoy watching the fights because it's actually a lot of fun to see. First thing you're going to need is a Thespian and an Egress, or Egress, whatever you want to call it. I'm honestly not sure. You'll want to go into your Pippi menu, which is at the current time Shift Insert, and move over to the cheat panel. From here, go to your buildings and look for a Thespian. Go ahead and grab one of those. You'll also need to look for an Egress. Grab one of those as well. An Egress is more or less just a door that has a locking mechanism on it, or it can be triggered to open. So let's start out by just throwing this Egress on an existing door. Next, you'll want to pull a Thespian out and put him here next to the door, or her in this case. I'm not going to modify any of the Thespians, so you guys can do whatever you feel is necessary. With the Egress, you can find all kind of videos about these. If you go in here, you'll want to name this. I'm going to name it Arena _ entrance. You'll want to come over here and modify the open duration. This determines how long the door will open when it is triggered. Let's set this to 10 seconds just to be a fair amount of time so that people are actually able to get into the door when it kicks open. You can also modify these to be whatever kind of door you'd like. All the different settings are throughout here. You can play with this with whatever you choose. For now, we're just going to go with this one because it looks kind of like an arena door. We're going to want to go into our Thespian. You'll want to turn this into a dialogue Thespian. And what that does is it allows you to interact with the NPC just like you would be able to talk to anyone else. So let's apply that and check it out. You can see there's nothing going on here because we haven't set anything up. You can actually enter into a dialogue with the character now. So let's give this person a name. We're just going to call them the Gatekeeper, and profession will be Arena Gatekeeper because we're keeping it simple. You'll want to launch the Mushi editor. This option will not be available unless you are an admin for your server. So make sure you have added yourself as an admin. We've got a lot of options here. I'm sure if you've played with this Mushi editor before, you have some familiarity. So I'm not going to step through every different piece of it. We're going to set up a basic gatekeeper to allow us to get into the arena. So the first thing we're going to do is set up a dialogue node. This dialogue node will simply be a welcome. Increasing the text speed just makes it display faster to the individual talking to them. I typically like to do that just because I feel like it moves pretty slow at 60%. So this will just allow you to have an initial dialogue with the character. From there, we're going to add a couple options. We're going to say enter the arena and about the arena. This will help if you have a large number of people in your server or just people that don't know what's been created. You can let them know how this all works. So we're going to connect these nodes. Let's start with the about the arena. We're going to go ahead and say that it's 25 silver. That'll work. We're going to get into this later, but we'll make a entry fee of 25 silver to actually attempt to survive the arena. A lot of people will put wait timers in here, but to be honest, that kind of feels like a lot of work because you have to time out how much time should be there. Some people read slower than others. Some people read faster. Sometimes you hit the option by accident and you don't want to sit and watch the entire thing. So what I typically like to do is create an options node and just allow the person to exit out of it whenever they're done. We're going to say, okay, thanks. You'll see at this point, we're at a dead end. One of the things that you run into a lot is you're going to have to come back to this very beginning. You're going to have to loop through this whole scenario many times depending on the script that you're creating. So one of the things that I always like to do is start out with a bounce node. We'll create this here. We'll go ahead and leave this one connected. All right, we're going to make this a land. and we're going to connect it up to here as well. We'll create another bounce node over here, connect that up, and make it bounce to 6. What this is going to do is as soon as you hit the OK thanks option, it is going to kick you back around to here and restart the sequence. So let's go ahead and see that. So you can see we've got our two options here. If you click about the arena, to enter the arena, you must pay 25 silver. If you're any good, it'll more than make up for itself. Boom. Okay, we're back around. Let's put something in there. I missed this. Now let's say we want to enter the arena. First thing we want to actually do here is ensure that the user has the required funds. This uses the wallet feature of the Pippi Mod. If you don't know anything about that, you'll probably need to look that up separately. I'm not going to go into that here. You can set the amount of funds that are required and connect it there. Let's assume the user does not have enough funds to complete this transaction. We're going to go down the false route, and we're just going to have them say you do not have enough to enter the arena. Pretty simple. And we're going to bounce back to the start again because we want to just keep looping until the person chooses to exit. Now let's go ahead and assume that the person does have enough money. We're going to create an action and we're going to remove the funds. So again, want to go to 25, link it up to true. All right, so at this point, the funds have been removed from their wallet. And what we want to do is trigger the egress to open. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to set up a trigger node and provide the name of the egress that we created, which is arena entrance. At this point, the door is going to pop open. We additionally want to create a global variable. So we go in here to global var operations, and we're going to call it arena underscore active. So what this is going to do is this is going to indicate later for our second Thespian that we do not have a current round going on. This will make a little more sense later on, but we're going to just create it for now so that we don't have to come back later. Additionally, we want one more character variable that will allow us to indicate what level or what wave the current character is on. Since this is our first entrance into the arena, we're going to set it as 0, and we're going to name this arena round. Now, if you're not familiar with the difference between the character variable and the global variables, character variables are literally stored on your character. You can look these up through the Pippi Mod. I can show that a little bit later. Global variables are available in this lookup up here. Global variables are set for all users, pretty much for everything in the game. So since we only want the arena to be activated once, we're using a global variable. But since we want, let's say, character A to be able to be on round 20, but character B to have never played before and be on round 0, we want to have an individual character variable there. Last thing we want to do is create an item to close the dialogue. This will exit out of the conversation and allow the character to walk through the egress. This should be all set up now. Let's give it a shot and see what happens. All right, we'll talk to the person here. We're going to ask them about the arena. They're going to tell us that you have to pay 25 silver. If you're any good, it'll more than make up for itself. We thank them for their wisdom, and then we choose to enter the arena. So there was one thing we missed here. We will want to put an option here to indicate that we do not have enough funds to enter the arena. From this point again, we'll just say, okay, I will come back. We're going to bounce out to the start. You do not have enough to enter the arena. Okay, I will come back. From there, we're going to go in and add some silver. Welcome to the arena. Enter the arena. The egress opens for 10 seconds and we walk in. Great. So this is all set up. Everything is working as expected. You'll also notice that at this point we cannot leave. The egress is disabled. What this will do is it will force your player to stay in the arena for their battle. The other thing I've done is created fences all along the entire outline of the arena. You can see in here the entire thing is locked in. You really want the person to not be able to get out for this to have the same feel that we're going for. Interesting. Not sure why I was able to climb up that. Anyway, you just want to be able to lock the individual inside of the arena. So that about does it for the first part, setting up the Gatekeeper. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the feed. And be sure to check out the next video, which will be spawning combatants in the arena.